Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 423. Today we're going to talk about Seven Wonders Duel. And this is basically a two-player version of the much renowned Seven Wonders. So this does have drafting in a very different way for two players, but players are both acting as civilizations, trying to win the game in a number of ways. You can win as a military victory, you can win as a science victory, you can win with straight up points. Now, Seven Wonders Duel obviously is a two-player card drafting civilization game. It takes about 30 minutes. Actually, I've played this less than 30 minutes now that we've gotten the hang of it. So even though, as you can see here, there's a lot of pieces, kind of a lot going on to fill up the table, the game is very quick. And turns go very quickly, one after another, boom, boom, boom. You'll be taking cards, as you can see here, from this pyramid, and then adding them to your display. Now, similar to the original game, there are 3 ages. There'll be 3 decks of cards. You'll remove some cards from each age, so you won't know exactly what's in there. And there are also guild cards that you'll shuffle into age 3. You only put 3 per game in there, so that will also mix up the gameplay from game to game. Now, instead of a wonder board, each player will have 4 wonders in front of them, and the game tells you you can deal out a certain amount to each player, or you can go through a draft, which I actually recommend after you play your first game. And these are going to be the wonders that you're available to construct. Now, even though there are 8 dealt out, being 7 wonders, only 7 can actually be constructed. So once one player has constructed 4, then the other player is limited to only being able to construct 3 of theirs. Finally, there's a board in the center of the table, and from here, you're going to be pushing this military marker back and forth. So if you acquire a military card that has 2 symbols on it, you maybe will push it 2 spaces towards your opponent in their direction. And then maybe they'll get some military, push it back towards you. And then you can see these tokens here. So if this military marker had been pushed so far against me, we'll remove this token. I'll immediately, in this case, have to lose 2 gold. And then you can see how many points my opponent will end up with at the end of the game, depending on where this marker may or may not be. If you do move it into this last space, that's actually an immediate victory. The other new thing you can see here are these knowledge tokens, and you'll deal out 5 of these per game. You can sometimes get access to those that aren't dealt out, but these are different little special abilities that you can trigger, maybe give you extra points and things at the end of the game through playing your science cards. Now, your turn is very simple. You're simply going to select one of the available cards from the pyramid. An available card is simply any card that doesn't have any other cards covering any piece of it. So maybe in this case, I'll take the clay pit. I'll take this here. You can see the cost is 1 coin. Sometimes certain cards will have no cost. So for example, if my opponent took this theater, you can see this gives them 3 points at the end of the game, but there's no cost on it. And sometimes these cards will have a little prerequisite type of icon. So this one has this little mask, so that we know in a future age that the card that has this mask on it, we can actually play for free instead of the cost because we have this sort of prerequisite building. Now let's say it's back to my turn. I want to take this scriptorium. Again, you can see here is the cost. It's going to cost me $2. And it's also got this white icon here, so we know it is a prerequisite for a future card. And just to show you an example, here's the library from age 2. You can see it has a cost of some different goods, in this case of brick, wood, and glass, or since we got the scriptorium previously, we can just grab this for free because we have the matching icon. Now at this point, we've actually revealed 2 cards. So once you have a card that has nothing covering it, you're going to go ahead and immediately flip it face up. Now moving along a little bit, you can see, let's look at an example of a card. This is a science card that has the requirement of paper as one of the costs. And simply to pay that cost, you just need a card that has this symbol in the upper side. And this lets you know that you can actually produce paper or pay for paper when you go to try to acquire a card. Now, if I didn't have a particular good to pay, I'm going to have to pay the bank to make up for that. So I can, in this case, pay $2 to the bank plus an additional $1 for each good that my opponent has that matches the good that I'm trying to pay for. Now, there's 2 interesting things about science cards. They give you some points, but if you ever play a matching pair with the same matching icon, that's when you can go ahead and grab one of these knowledge tokens. And these can be different things. You can see here, some of these are science icons. Some will give you points at the end of the game. Some will let you advance military and so on. There's a good variety of these, and these will sort of inform your decisions throughout the game very much so. Now, the other interesting thing about science cards is if you ever get 6 of the 7 possible symbols, that's also an immediate victory. So similar to military, if you push your military marker all the way to the opponent's side, you instantly win. If you develop so much vast technology and knowledge that you collect all 6 of the different symbols, you immediately win. Otherwise, you play through all 3 ages and then you total up your points. Now, besides collecting cards and adding them to your tableau, there's 2 other things you can do when you take a card. This example, we've got 2 cards here. A military card, it costs us $2, and then a trade card that costs us $3. Now, one thing that you can do is actually take the card, discard the card. So let's say we decide to take this military card. We can't afford it. We know our opponent can, but we don't want them to give access to it. We can take and discard it. When you do that, you'll take $2 from the bank plus $1 for each yellow card. So in this case, if we had these 2 yellow cards in front of us, we'd get $2 for discarding the card plus another $2 for each of the yellow cards. And we haven't talked about any yellow cards, so let's go over these quickly. We can see the top one here. When we take it, we'll immediately get $2 for each brown card, for each resource card that's brown, plus 3 points at the end of the game. And then the other card, and this is the wood reserve, this actually reduces our cost when we have to pay to trade in for wood we don't have. It just reduces it straight to $1. So these are very useful. Now, the third and final thing we can do when we take a card is actually use it to build our wonder. So if we look at our previous example, we could take that same card that we wanted to sort of trash, take it and then go ahead and tuck it under the wonder, and this signifies that it's been built. Now, you still have to pay the cost or produce the cost to be able to do this, and then you immediately take any actions. In this case, we could get 2 military movements and then 3 points at the end of the game. And there's a variety of different wonders that do different things. They'll give you extra turns, have you discard cards from your opponent, and so on. And that's the game. It's very, very simple. You just take a card, either trash it for money, add it to your wonder to build, or just put it in front of you and now you've got a new resource or maybe a better trade card or a building which is worth points. Like I said, you have the thing where you can get a military victory immediately, which is, I've seen that. I haven't seen the immediate science victory. I've seen it get close, but I haven't seen it. I know it's probably possible. It must be possible. Even if you played a few times, and I think you can sort of get in a sense where you can prevent that, even if you're not going for that, it's still kind of like that cloud hanging over the game, but I kind of mean that in a good way where it makes you really think about what you're doing. And the thing that makes this game awesome, and it is awesome I think, is you really have a sense of long-term strategy with this game mixed with some tactics, because as you saw there, some of the cards in the pyramid are visible and some aren't. So you don't know quite what's there. You see some of what's there. You see what green knowledge tokens that you have, and you see the wonders that you have. And so you have this sort of ability to learn the game and learn the cards and kind of know the order that they come out and deal with that. And you've got this sort of long-term planning and stuff that you have to adjust to, but there's still a lot of tactics in the game. So it's very, very cool that way, and it plays very quickly. And there's a lot of sort of back and forth where you're trying to take stuff from your opponent, you know, weighing the cost benefit of doing that versus doing something that's really just good for you. It's going to get you a lot of points, so there's a whole denial thing. So it has all those elements of Seven Wonders, but because you're kind of drafting out in the open, which I really like, it reminds me of the I can't remember if it's Winchester or Winston draft. It's one of those two in Magic where it's a 2-player draft and you play with cards available that everybody can see, and you sort of draft and pull and then they become available and stuff like that. This is very different than that, but it kind of reminds me of it. And I think the whole pyramid thing is pretty ingenious. I mean, it looks like a wonder, which is really cool, but it also serves as this dual purpose of giving you kind of like just enough information to sort of, you know, make some good quick decisions, but then you're not really sure, you don't really want to reveal that card for your opponent. You're like, oh, I just, you know, there's the free building that's worth lots of points, or it's the perfect building for them. So you want to be able to sort of set that up for your turn and make something so sort of tempting for your opponent to take that they're willing to sort of either reveal a hidden card or reveal some other card that was just covered up, and, you know, make it so tempting for them that they give it to you. So there's some interesting interplay there as well as, you know, like trying to target and get to that special ability of your wonder that gives you the 2 turns in a row, or allows you to sort of draw some extra knowledge tokens, or get the science to get the knowledge tokens, to kind of do that little like cool, like boom boom, just real quick little, not like a combo, but just that little quick extra strike, a little extra meanness there. And then you'll really put the pressure on your opponent in terms of the military side of things. And then you have the sort of economic engine kind of thing. It makes it feel very Civ-like, where you want to get some resources, some good trade cards, the yellow cards, so, you know, you're not struggling so much for money and all that kind of stuff. So it's good. It's very tactical, like I said again, but it has a sort of long play to it where you're trying to sort of set up and have some sort of long-term goals. But it plays super quick. Like I said, you can, once you get the, you can play boom, 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 you play it back to back, and you can definitely play a game in less than 30 minutes. So this is great. I think it's great because I'm not like the biggest fan of Seven Wonders. I do like it. I do think it's, I mean, it's a great design. I mean, if I want to look at it sort of like a Poindexter academic, I can look at it and go, that's really awesome that they came up with a civilization thing. I don't like playing Seven Wonders with more than probably 4 or 5 maybe. But I never like, we have 7 players like, let's play Seven Wonders, and I'm always the jerk that says like, let's not, because what I do does not matter to the person across the table from me, and it drives me crazy about that. But I've always wanted to play, as a 2-player game. I don't think I knew that I wanted to do that, but now that I played this, I'm like, this is great. I mean, I might like this more than the original Seven Wonders. You do kind of lose out a little bit with, the 3 and 4 player game because there's some dynamics there, a little bit more to watch. It's a different feel. It's a different kind of game. But this has that whole similar sort of kind of pushing your luck, kind of going for a certain strategy. Do I go for science? Do I go for this? And it retains that from the original Seven Wonders. You try to sort of, get a lot of points in one area and then kind of, sort of bring up the slack in the other areas. But because of the immediate victory and stuff, and you have the whole setup of the knowledge tokens that you can really like, oh, that's a cool one, I'm going to use that one, that's really going to, combo good with my strategy. I'm going to go try to target that and kind of go down that path there. So it retains that. It's really excellent game. Definitely one I'm going to keep for sure. I would say get it. If you even like Seven Wonders a little bit, you got to get this, because I think even if you didn't like Seven Wonders for some reason, I would get this for sure. And I don't know, I like this better. I mean, I'll just say it. Not that it really means anything, me saying that, but I do like this better because every game is going to be satisfying with me no matter the player count, because it's a fixed player count, which doesn't make any sense. But I like this. It retains that same long, very abstracted Civ feel. And if you've watched my videos at all, you know that I really enjoy civilization themes. And so it has that feel to it, even though it's a very quick filler type of thing. You do feel like you have that progression of your civilization from, sort of archaic Bronze Age into something more meaningful and cooler wonders and all that kind of stuff. And the production's ridiculously good for such a small box too. All right, just go buy it. Thanks.